And we are live to Sunday School Carnivore. I am John, your carnivore teacher, and we have Stephanie at Happy Sexy Health and Mr. George Goodenough, who just turned 60. We wish him a happy birthday, a belated happy birthday. And we do have a special guest coming on today, Aaliyah. She is going to, hopefully she can get on here and share with us her carnivore journey. So while we're waiting for her to join us, let's go around and do our intros and explain who we are and why we come here every Sunday. I'll start. I'm Carnivore Teacher. I put out videos every day teaching about the carnivore way of eating. It has drastically healed many aspects of my life, not only weight loss, emotional. I feel so much better. I used to have AFib. I had lower back pain. So many things have improved because I took out the toxins and the processed food, and I just eat meat, fish, eggs, animal fats, salt to taste, and I feel phenomenal. I have to share it with the world. It's why I'm here. And hopefully today we will hear from a young lady who has done the same thing. So let's hear from Stephanie next. Tell us about yourself.
Yay! Aaliyah has just joined us in the studio. Oh, I'm going to mute you, Aaliyah, for a second. I'll mute you for a second. So welcome, Aaliyah. Great to be here. I'm Stephanie from Happy Sexy Health, and along with my sister Nikki, we delved deep into carnivore when I was diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer. And carnivore really has transformed my life the same way it has for John. And now we help people to get started on what we call primal eating. And we help people to reverse type 2 diabetes and chronic disease within 21 days. So, George, I think you're next, or did you do it? Yes.
My name is George Goodenough from Bridgewater in Somerset in England. I am now your 60-year-old carnivore friend. Last week I was 59-year-old carnivore friend, but I turned 60 on Tuesday. Probably more of which later, I would imagine, because I've had a couple of good carnivore meals to celebrate this week. So looking forward to that. My story is one of type 2 diabetes, which I was diagnosed with 3.5 years ago, virtually today. I adopted the low-carb, high-fat diet. I was morbidly obese at 293 pounds. I have seen as low as 168, but because of the trip to Wyoming and probably this week's birthday celebrations, I'd imagine there's probably another 7 pounds or so gone back on, but they will come off again when I return to my normal way of eating. Let's pick on one other non-scale success story. I used to suffer terribly from boils, and they've long since disappeared since I've been carnivore. So that's another one. I've got another long list about as long as your arm, but I'll say one for each week. That's probably the best way of doing it. Yeah, so that's my backstory really, and it's great to be here. The reason I do Sunday School is because John and myself came up with the idea as a follow-on to his Wednesday night school. And we came up with it in June, and then we recruited Steph, and she has taken over very nicely. So she's the boss now, but John is still the principal, the headmaster, and I am the deputy head or the deputy principal. So there we go. And yeah, this is a young friend of mine called Aaliyah, and we have a show on a Monday morning, which we do 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So please feel free to join us tomorrow as well. So anyway, back to you, John, and then you can take it from there.
All right. Thank you, George. Thank you, Stephanie. So Aaliyah, unmute yourself there. Introduce yourself to our audience.
Hi, my name is Aaliyah. I'm a 60-year-old carnivore. I've been doing carnivore for 17 months now, I think. I started carnivore because I was having so many health issues. And, it was just really awful. I had chronic migraines from the time I was a toddler to endometriosis, PCOS. I was chronically fatigued. I had no energy. And all these things just kept accumulating until I found carnivore, and then everything was all better.
That's fantastic. Aaliyah, we're going to say it correctly now. Aaliyah, not Aaliyah. So you're 16, and we're here to have you tell us your story a little bit more in detail. We want to give you some time to do that. Anything else that George or Stephanie you'd like to ask before we let her go in depth and tell us her story?
No, I've got a couple of questions up my sleeve. Reference the other world of horses a little bit later on, but let's hear about the carnivore and the health story first, shall we, Ali?
All right, Aaliyah. So give us the details. Tell us what your life was like before carnivore, those migraines, the other issues, and how did you find carnivore, and then tried it and tested it and found out that it healed you.
Okay, I'll tell you that. One question though, is there a bunch of feedback, like background noise?
Well, we mute ourselves when we're not talking. So
Okay.
when we mute ourselves, I don't hear it.
Well, I think maybe, Aaliyah, you mean behind you.
Yes,
And
behind me.
There was some background noise, but it doesn't seem too bad now. But maybe if you speak up, it should be fine.
Or you can lower your volume on your are you on your phone or your laptop?
I'm on my phone, but I didn't realize somebody close by is doing construction and it's like really loud.
Oh, I don't hear that.
Okay.
Okay, you sound good. Go ahead.
So, when I was a toddler, I'd say really a toddler, my parents started noticing that I was just having a lot of issues and I was having migraines. Because I was always complaining about my head hurting. But when you're that young, there's like nothing that the doctors can really do about it. So I had like scans, they didn't see anything. And I'd had a heart murmur too, but it went away with age. And then around the time I'm like 6 or 10, I'm not really sure. I went to a specialist for my migraines, and that's when I got diagnosed. And leading up to that point, I was fairly active and fairly healthy, but I'd always felt like the odd one out, like I didn't have as much energy, I didn't have as much go. And then like my dad would like pick me up and like throw me or do like little kid stuff. And I'll be like, why does it hurt so bad? Like, don't touch me. Like, my arms, my legs, they hurt really bad. Like, just pressure. So that was like a really bad symptom I had. And then the older I got, the worse it got. So like I just started having no energy. I didn't want to leave the house. I didn't want to do anything. And I played sports too, because I thought I was being healthy and active, but it was miserable. I was miserable. And I was eating a lot of processed foods and a lot of ultra processed foods, and a lot of carbs. But I really didn't get my endometriosis issues until I started trying to eat healthy. So I was eating a lot of like phytoestrogenic food, like plant estrogens. And after doing that for maybe 6 months, so I was eating like chia seeds, flax seeds, smoothie bowls, like very high carbohydrate, like, like the standard calorie deficit, whole food, but like you're eating like protein powder with soy in it diet, that's considered healthy, but it's really probably one of the worst diets out there. And that's when I started developing endometriosis. And I really do think, if I would have kept going down like processed food, it would have developed, but it wouldn't have developed as early as if I didn't eat all those extra estrogens. That's what I believe, but we can't know for sure. And then I started having like debilitating cramps, and it didn't feel like cramps. Like my mom thought my appendix was bursting. It was so bad, so they took me to urgent care. And the people at urgent care were just looking at me. They're like, "Yeah, that's just period cramps." And I'm like, "Wait, no. I've had period cramps. This is not period cramps." And yeah, they didn't do anything. They gave me like IBS medication. I'm like, "Are you dumb?" I was very like, "Are you serious? Like this is it? Like that's all?" So I started researching, and I kind of already had an idea because my biological mother had endometriosis, but I don't really talk to her, so I didn't really know until I asked her. She was like, "Yeah." So then it kind of like clicked in my head. Okay, that's probably what this is, because it kept happening. So then we schedule an appointment with my primary care physician, because at school after lunch, and we went to the same class after lunch, I kept passing out. It happened like 3 times. I would just pass out, and it wasn't like, oh, I'd just like fall over and pass out. Like it was really laid back class, so a lot of us would just like sit on our phones or like take a nap or like watch TV during class, which is like stupid, but that's what we did. So I would notice that I would just like completely black out after class, and like I think I passed out. I don't know. Like I didn't fall asleep, but I'm like, I don't know what happened. You know, because when you fall asleep, you know you fell asleep, right? So that happened a couple times, and you know, I went to the doctor and they did blood work. Like everything was relatively okay, and at this point I'd lost some weight doing like the calorie deficit and whatever you want to call it diet. So the doctor was like, oh yeah, you're doing good. They tested my blood work and they said I had mono like 5 or 6 months ago, or like 12 weeks ago. It was a long time ago that I had it, and they said that was why I was passing out now. And to me, that makes absolutely no sense. And she was like, yeah, you do have a little bit of hypoglycemia, but that's not really what I'm worried about. I'm like, okay, that doesn't make sense to me either, because if I'm hypoglycemic, that would be why I'm passing out, you know, my blood sugar's dropping. Because one of my close friends, she was always really autoimmune everything, and she had hypoglycemia and like celiac. She was really sick always. So I kind of had like an idea of like how this kind of stuff worked. And I was like, okay, that doesn't make sense. So we also talked about like my endometriosis stuff, and I really don't remember anything coming out of that conversation other than go to a gynecologist. So I went to a gynecologist. I went into the gynecologist's office knowing what they were going to tell me: take birth control. Well, that you can guess that's exactly what ended up happening. I went in there. They made me wait like 2 hours with a completely full bladder, like to the point where I was in pain. Like I was like, this is hurting. And they wouldn't let me go use the bathroom. I was so mad. I'm like, really? So then they get us into a room and we wait another hour to get the ultrasound. And I'm like about to pee my pants. I'm like, are you serious? So, because, you know, they make you drink so much water beforehand. It's crazy. And then I get the ultrasound and there's nothing there. And there's nothing, they can't find anything. So I'm like, okay, this was pointless, right? Like, you're just kind of like, okay, this was pointless. So I don't remember them doing anything else except being like, I had 2 doctors. There was a guy and there was a girl. And I remember going into the woman's office and I was like kind of already mad because like I had to pee. And she was like, yeah, we think you have endometriosis, but we don't want to research or like look into it any further since you're so young, so just take birth control. And I was like, is there anything else I can do? She's like, no, take birth control. Here's some other pill that's supposed to help, but I don't really know anything about it, so here's a pamphlet. And then she left. And I was like trying to sit there and like talk to her, like, okay, how does this happen? Like, why do I have this? How did I get this? You know, like questions you'd want to know. It's your body, right? I should have a right to know. And yeah, I don't remember anything coming out of it. And then I think we sat down with the male doctor afterwards, and he was a lot nicer. And I really don't remember what we talked about. I think he was just like kind of explaining more of like anatomy to me, like telling me how the body works, which I already knew, but I was like, okay, at least this is a little bit better than the other lady, right? So yeah, he was better, but he didn't really tell me anything either, but he was a lot nicer. That's all that I really don't remember like what we conversated about, so did that. And then yeah, they told me to take birth control. I didn't want to take birth control, so we left. And after that is when I kind of started looking into diet. So I think I started with like Mediterranean low toxic, which is like no red meat or something like that. And it was like, I can't remember if it was grains or no grains. But it was a lot of like nuts and seeds, and I don't know. It was a while ago. And I'm not very good with remembering stuff from when I was sick because my brain was not functioning back then. And then I kind of look into paleo, hear a little bit about it. I try it. I didn't really notice anything from that either. So then I come across Maria Emmerich and Michaela Peterson. 2 very different stories, but they both had the same kind of I healed myself through diet. Maria Emmerich's was a lot more emotional for me because she was really talking about how she wasn't able to have kids and how that was a lot for her, and then she found keto. And then I didn't connect that to carnivore till kind of months later or like a year or two later. So like pretty recently was when I kind of connected that to, oh wait, that was like a pivotal moment for me, right? And then I came across Michaela Peterson, and that's when I really started like, oh my gosh, there's hope. But I was seeing TikToks of like animal based and like people healing PCOS and all that stuff. So that's when I was like, okay, let me try this, because my boyfriend kept sending me these TikToks like, hey, you should try this. I was like, okay, I'll do it. And I did it. And ever since then, like, my life has been totally different. I've had times where I struggle, and I've had times where I've had symptoms come back, but you know, it's always been a reason. It's not just because carnivore stopped working. It's because I had seed oils by accident, or like some seasonings, or something outside like pollen, or I'm reacting to something. It's never because my body's just reverting to that. That's never happened. And I'm really grateful for that. But I have had symptoms since then, and I'm not 100%, you know, perfectly cured, but I'm a lot better than where I came. So I'm really happy about that.
Thank you very much for sharing that, aaliyah. Aaliyah, I don't want to get that right. So when did you turn 16? Are you just 16? Have you?
I turned 16 in February.
Are you in 11th grade, 12th grade?
I actually graduated when I was 15. So about what's this month of September? It was, I can't remember if it was August or September that I graduated last year.
Okay. Wow. You graduated early. And we're just curious, where do you live? Where are you from?
I'm upstate South Carolina. Really, like 20 minutes away from Charlotte, like if we were to take out the 2 hours that you'd be sitting in traffic, right?
Okay. All right. So how did you who first suggested the paleo and then the diets that led you to carnivore?
Nobody really suggested it.
Is
but
it
I
just
guess,
you saw it on TikTok and your boyfriend showed you?
No, not really that. It was like always in the back of my mind, like, it's got to be something that I'm doing, right?
Okay.
Whether it's like food or maybe I'm not eating enough vegetables, or I'm eating too, like, I didn't really know. I just knew there was something that I was doing, right? Something I was doing wrong. Because a lot of doctors will just be like, oh, there's something wrong with you, and take a pill to fix it, right?
You're way ahead. You're way ahead of so many people who for decades, I mean, you're 16, decades, they go through all of the medicines and all of the surgeries and all of the hospital issues. And you're brilliant. You've realized it's the food you were eating.
Mm-hmm.
So kudos to you for coming up with that already. George, Stephanie, anything you want to share or ask?
Yes, I would love to. First of all, let's see if anyone in the comments can top this. Papa Carnivore Pete just said he had 5 scrambled eggs with 5 strips of bacon, and he's just about to cook a rack of roast pork spare ribs in the oven for dinner tonight. He's so excited. I feel excited, and I'm not there. I wish I was there. So if anybody can top this for what they are eating or have eaten today, that would be great. And going back to Alia's story. Oh, sorry. I'm saying it wrong. Alia's story. Going back to Alia's story. What I love about this is exactly what you just said, John. Now, I had struggled for many decades with various issues, not quite as severe, perhaps, as the ones that you're talking about. And I had a feeling that there was a way of eating to solve this. And it took me until my 50s before I found this way of eating. So I just want to applaud you as well for getting there so quickly, because what would have happened is the heartbreaking stories that we hear on Dave Mack and other places where people have basically been going through the system for decades, and it sounds like a small thing. For example, PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. It sounds like a small thing, but that can be so heartbreaking because so often it can lead to infertility. That changes somebody's life entirely. It changes the relationships that they're able to build with other people. It changes the mood they have and the way they can relate to people. And we already know that the standard diets that we have around most of the world, these high carbohydrate, in inverted commas, healthy diets, make you feel so tired and fatigued in general. So I would love to go into a little bit more, Aaliyah, with your polycystic ovarian syndrome and your endometriosis. What sorts of symptoms were you having, and how has it made a difference to your day-to-day life now having gone carnivore?
Okay. I'm not one of those people who's uncomfortable talking about some graphic situations, so buckle up, right? So I guess my family had a history of PCOS, so it was like almost no question, right? I was gonna have it. Already knew that. So for those, I didn't really have a lot of PCOS symptoms. Like I didn't have per se irregular periods, but there was a point, and I can't remember when it was. It was about the time, it was during the time I was losing weight, actually, when I was doing the calorie deficit. I had lost my period for like a couple months, right? And like, it's not like I got skinny. Like, I lost like 10, 12 pounds. Like, I was like 212 at the time was like my lowest weight then, which is a lot for, I'm 5'2", or I was 5 foot then. I'm 5'2" now. That's a lot of weight. And like that's not skinny enough to really be losing your period, but if you're not nourishing your body, you're losing your period. So that was the only like big PCOS symptom that I had, other than just like hyperinsulinemia, right? If you guys know what that is, just what causes PCOS or what is because of PCOS, we don't really know, right? They go hand in hand, they affect each other. We don't know which comes first, like the egg or the chicken, we don't know. And then for endometriosis, this is where I had the most symptoms. So before I had endometriosis, I had fairly nice period compared to most people. It was very regular, not super heavy. I use tampons, which like okay, TMI, but like this is relevant. And it was easygoing. I didn't have any issues. Like I had light cramping, but like as to be expected, your uterus is contracting. So then I start having endometriosis symptoms, right? The first day, like it was just like awful stomach pains. Like I thought my appendix was bursting. And I have a fairly high pain tolerance. I work with horses. I'm my daddy's prettiest son, right? Pretty good pain tolerance for me, right? So I was like, why am I in so much pain? There's something wrong about this. So I'm telling my mom because I'm out in Charlotte, like Pineville area, so I'm like far away from home. And I was with my grandpa, and he doesn't respond to like, oh, I'm in pain. He's like, take some Advil. I'm like, no, it's not that kind of pain. I'm like, I'm gonna die kind of pain. He's like, he didn't get it. So I was texting my mom, I was telling her, I'm like, when I come home, can we go to the doctor? She's like, why? I'm like, I think I'm gonna die. She's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, my stomach is like killing me. And that's like a lot coming from me because I'm not the kind of person who complains about stuff. So we got home and she was like, okay, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know. Like, why? Like, I was laying on the floor trying to explain this to her, and I'm like, I don't know. And that was the first time it happened. And then the longer I kind of went, like this was within the first 2 hours of me ever experiencing this. When I would get up and walk around, like, this is just how I imagine it, and I'm sorry, guys. It felt like I was birthing a bowling ball. There was just, like, a pressure, like, unimaginable amount of pressure, and then you're trying to walk around because you're supposed to walk to help with cramps, and you're just like, okay, I feel like I'm in labor. And I've talked to women who've had endometriosis and who've had natural births, and they say endometriosis, like, is almost worse. It doesn't go away. It can come in waves for the cramping, but for that, it's constant and there's no working around it. You can't, like, I'm sitting up straight. You can't sit like that. You have to, like, sit on your knees or, like, lay down. Like, you can't have weight on your pelvic area. It was so excruciatingly painful. And then, like, think about people who are having this and they're going to school. Like, you do have to sit down all day. And I would just be, like, laying on my desk. And my teachers were like, okay, I guess that's what you're going to do. Like, I guess I was lucky in the sense that, like, our school didn't teach, period. So, like, they didn't really care what I was doing. I guess I'm lucky for that, you know, something that's kind of not a good thing, but I'm now in hindsight, I'm grateful for it because it really did help me. That was the top worst thing ever, because that is just constant. It doesn't go away. You're just living with that for like 3 or 4, 5 days, depending on certain people's, you know, how long their pain lasts. And then, of course, every 20, 15 minutes, you would get the what I like to call it pitchforks. It felt like it felt like a little giant man had a full-size pitchfork just stabbing your insides, twisting your insides, just, you know, very descriptive here. And that was, of course, pretty bad too. So I thought I was going to die. And that's when, you know, my mom was like, let's go to the doctors. And I already told you all how that went. And then now carnivore, I'll get cramps. That's about it. But they're not bad cramps. They're not I'm going to die cramps, or like my stomach's kind of sore. Oh, and then also with endometriosis, like, you can't touch your stomach. That hurts. It hurts really bad. You can't wear, like, tight pants at all. And I'm not the only person who's had all these symptoms, but I think I'm the only person who just randomly woke up one day with these symptoms. I haven't talked to, or heard of another person who had that same experience. A lot of people's, it just slowly gets worse and worse and worse over time. And I think that is because there's some lady I know, Fleur. She had endometriosis, and she was, I don't know. She had PCOS, and then she had really bad irregular cramps and periods, so she took birth control. And then when she got off birth control is when she found out she had endometriosis. And I think that's a lot of people's story, is it gets worse with birth control, right? And I don't think mine was like that. I think it just one day, my body was like, okay, full force, let's go. Because it never got worse, and it didn't get better till I did carnivore. It was always bad from the start. And I will say I was able to cope and deal with it because I'd had chronic migraines my whole life, and that's also debilitating. So I'd already had, like, the coping mechanism to cope with pain. Like, you know, like an animal, if it loses its leg, it's not just going to lie there. It's going to keep going, and that's what we have to do. And yeah, carnivore, like, it was the first month. Like, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing, right? I was, like, running around. I didn't have any pain. I had like cramping, but not like pain. It was like more uncomfortableness, right? Like, you're just like, this is not comfortable. And that was like the whole world was lifted off of my shoulders, right? Because I'd been dealing with this for like over a year up to that point, which 13 times probably, I would say, that I dealt with that. Maybe more, maybe less. I don't really know. And still, like, you've gone through that pain, like, it's not for the faint-hearted. And that's all that I have to say. Now, every once in a while, like, there will be times where it, like, hurts a little bit more than usual. But it's not, like, nothing compared to what I used to go through. And there's probably so many other symptoms that I had, and it's just not. Oh, another thing is, your colon is connected to your uterus, like your whole digestive tract. So, like, you were on the toilet, like, constantly, like, every 5-10 minutes. And it's not like you had to use the toilet, but it was like that sensation of you having to use the toilet. And there was, like, no getting around it. Like, it was really bad. It was awful. Yeah, and that was it. That's all that I can remember. But, you know, all these things going on at the same time, and then you're getting migraines while this is happening because your hormones are all over the place. And then my PMS symptoms were awful too. I was like so irritable, and I couldn't get out of bed during that PMS period. I'm not like really good at talking about this stuff because I'm like so ADHD. I'm like, okay, I remember something else, right? Let's backtrack. But yeah, like my whole hormonal cycle was just absolutely up and down all over the place, and not in like the way women are supposed to be, right? It was bad. It was really bad. So when I found Carnivore, it balanced my hormones. It helped with the hyperinsulinemia, which is what makes PCOS worse. We don't really know, right? And then on top of that, it reduced inflammation. And what causes endometriosis is lesions, tumors. Everybody kind of has a different opinion because we don't really know, right? But I mean, we do know, but like, can we trust the science? Like, can we really trust the science, right? And they attach to your organs. They're like cysts. Some of them are cysts. I guess maybe the reason why everybody has a different opinion is because endometriosis is a wide spectrum, right? It's pretty broad. You could have one of these symptoms, or you could have all of the symptoms, and you're still categorized in the same spot, and it's all the same treatment plan, which is birth control. So that maybe that's why we don't have more research and more I don't know, like groupings of it. I can't think of words to explain what I'm thinking. But it balanced my hormones, and those cyst tumor things, when they get inflamed, is really when they hurt really bad. And I guess that's what that pain was. And to me, it doesn't make sense why it feels like that, but that's what it is. It's awful. You can't, like, I couldn't eat without just like, I can't eat. I had to fast during my period because the whole like toilet thing was so bad. I was like, okay, just fast during my period. But then when you're on a carbohydrate heavy diet, like then you're getting keto flu on top of that, and it's just like awful, right? And then you try to eat, and then you're like immediately regretting it. And that's what I remember. I remember we went on a family trip to New Mexico, and I was like, we were hiking, and I was just like, I can't. I started like hyperventilating, like having an anxiety attack. Like, I can't do this hike because I was on my period. Like, I couldn't. And my mom was like, what's wrong? I'm like, I just can't. And it was awful. So yeah, you can't travel, of course. And yeah, like now I can do whatever I want. I don't have any issues. I mean, I have issues, but like, there's no comparison here, right? I was down in the depths, like really like digging my own grave, right? That's after a certain point, your whole these tumors, they keep growing, they keep collecting. You might have to get your organs removed. Like I know of people who doctors have told them they need to remove their colon. They need to have like an ostomy bag because of the endometriosis. They need to get their hysterectomy. Endometriosis is spelled with an A, not an E. It's very similar. And they say that is when the endometriosis grows beyond your uterus, but most people have that and endometriosis, so I guess it's grouped together. I don't really know. Yeah, you'll have like, and a lot of people will feel cramps in their legs too because it can grow in your muscles and your bones. So it's like just a giant inflammatory condition that you can't really get rid of. And I'm not the kind of person to say that it's impossible to get rid of these lesions. Like, I don't really know. And I do think logically, with a lot of fasting, a lot of autophagy, like you could probably go back to baseline, which is no tumors, no growths, no lesions. That's going to be very hard. But the biggest thing I suggest is these growths, whatever they are, when you don't have any inflammation, they're just growths. They don't affect you. So I don't know because I never had the surgery to like identify where my endometrial tissue was. I can't tell you if it's gone away. Like, I don't know. But I can tell you that it's gotten significantly better.
Aaliyah, you may have already answered this. I want to make sure that our audience hears it. When you started carnivore, when you switched over, what was the time frame when these symptoms started to disappear?
It was instant. And I really hate to say that because I don't want people expecting that.
But yours was pretty fast.
Mine was instant, and I wasn't
Oh my gosh.
I wasn't even 100% carnivore. I didn't really understand like coffee creamer had like seed oils in it. I really just thought it was like cream and like flavoring. So I still had like the 0 sugar coffee creamers.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a coffee addict. So I was drinking a lot of that. But still, even with that in my diet, and I wasn't like conscious about like seasonings and like dextrose and salt. You know, I was still using that stuff. And even then, it was still like so much different. But you also have to think, people will tell me if you just cut out processed foods, if you just went raw vegan. Like, I'd done vegan before. Granted, it was not the clean raw vegan, you know, but it was vegan, and I couldn't even make it past a week. It was so hard on my body.
Can you share with us exactly what you eat on a daily basis now?
Oh, yes. Okay. So I'm so excited to tell you this. So I just did like I think it was 4 days of an egg fast. And it wasn't because I was trying to lose weight. It wasn't for anything, purely the fact of me being lazy. And I'm like, I have so many eggs. I had like over 60 eggs. And I need to eat these, right? And I had a lot of butter and I had a lot of mustard.
We hear the roosters in the background, by the way. Do you have hens?
I do, but they're not egg laying. Well, they do lay eggs, but they're not like eating eggs.
Oh.
But where I work is on a farm, and like, oh my gosh, so many eggs.
All right. All right.
Eggs. And the lady who owns the farm, she's carnivore too, and she doesn't even eat eggs. So I just take all of her eggs. It's amazing. So I was like, yeah, let me eat these. And I think I ate almost a dozen eggs every day except the last day. I was just like hungry, but I was like, I got home so late. I was so tired. I was just like, I cooked 6 scrambled eggs. I'm like, I don't even really want these. Like, I took a bite and I was like, I'm tired. Let me go to sleep. So the 4th day, I would say I basically fasted the whole day. Or maybe I ate in the morning. I don't completely remember. I think I ate in the morning. But it wasn't a lot. It was kind of the same thing. Like, I'm hungry, but I gotta go to work. So like, yeah, a few bites, goodbye. So I fasted the whole day. I mean, I ate maybe like an egg, which is like nothing. But the first day I had 16 eggs or 12 eggs. And then the second day it was like same thing, and then the third day same thing, and then the 4th day I didn't really eat a whole lot, but I felt so good.
Wow.
I had so much more energy, and which is really what I was needing, because this past week has just been so much just like go go go. Like, I had so much stuff to do, and I really needed that extra boost. And I think what the reason behind that was not the eggs necessarily, but I was eating 80 to 90% fat those 4 days. Just straight fat, like just mostly butter. And I felt so good. And I've always never done high fat like that where I didn't get diarrhea. So I don't know why I didn't this time. Maybe it was because I was just eating the fat instead of eating fat and protein in high quantities. But I felt great. And I think I did lose like 2 or 3 pounds, which is good. That's really good. But it's, you know, some people will be like, I lost 10 pounds in 3 days. Like, that wasn't me, you know? But yeah, it was the energy I had, and I can't wait to, you know, do like a regular carnivore for a little while and maybe experiment doing super high fat or kind of see where my body wants me to go. But for the most part, I do crave fat a lot. So I was like, this makes sense why I feel so good. But I was always kind of holding back because me, I crave fat. I want to eat just like carnivore ice cream, which is like heavy cream and egg yolks. And I'm trying to like not eat so much dairy.
Yeah.
So that's why I was not eating as much fat as I probably should have been. But I love steak. I can't do ground beef. A lot of people like ground beef. I have really good intuition, or maybe I'm just insane. I can't do frozen meat. Don't give me frozen meat ever. I will smell the difference and I will tell you it's frozen meat. And it's insane that people are like, how? I'm like, I don't know. I really don't know why. And most of the time it's probably because it came out of my freezer and I knew it was frozen, but I've been to a restaurant and I was like smelling stuff and I was like, this has to be frozen. Right?
You can tell when it's previously frozen and thawed out properly, and you'd never know it was frozen, but you can tell.
It tastes gamier to me and it
Huh.
smells gamier to me.
Interesting. You're really highly attuned. Your sense of
Yeah.
your olfactory senses seem to be really, really strong.
Yeah, and there was something else that, I can smell really good. Like
It sounds like you, yeah.
My dad had made like instant oatmeal or something one day, and I was like in my room. I was like, "Them strawberries smell really good," and this is hilarious. He made peach oatmeal, and I was like, "Them strawberries smell good." It was funny, but I got like a stronger sense of smell now, and same with my hearing. Like my hearing is tons better, you know.
I've heard that.
eyesight,
I've heard that from many people that when they go to carnivore, so many of their senses heighten.
Yeah.
It's amazing. George, you said you had some specific questions you'd like to ask Aaliyah. You're muted. You got to unmute.
I was just saying, yeah, you said my name right.
Aaliyah.
I'll say we'll switch away from carnivore for a second, aaliyah. And we're going to go to horses. As you know, we have a shared interest in horses. Can you tell our viewers, what are you actually studying in the equine world? What are you actually studying to be?
Well, at least for like certified, I'm studying to become a certified equine sports massage therapist, which is just an equine massage, but it's mainly put towards equine athletes, which would be like hunter jumper horses, like thoroughbreds, racing horses, a lot of performance type horses. And that's a really cool industry to be in, but it's also I was really interested in it because locally, like, we've got a lot of good people who have performance horses that are not insane, but there are so many people that you just don't want to deal with in this industry, and that's kind of why I was leaning towards carnivore coaching too. I want to make my horses my hobby, not my job. And you have to have so much money to do that, and I don't, right? It's either you're all in for horses and that's your life and you live, eat horses, and that's how you get by, or you have tons of money, right? There's no in between. So that's why I started doing the carnivore coaching. But yeah, for horses, what I really want to do is I love teaching horseback riding lessons, but it's so hard to find good kids. Like, so many kids now are so inflamed that, like, you're just like, you're whining constantly. You're always in pain. They don't want to do anything. That's not fun to teach. You don't want to teach someone who's not motivated, right? And that's kind of why I couldn't see myself doing that to make a living unless I had to. You know, I love children, but I can't be around them. Like, it irks me for, like, because I just see them and they're up and down, like, all the time. They're like crashing and then they're just like sprinting through the yard, and there's no mellowed out, like, logical child that I've noticed. That there are a couple, but it's because their parents don't let them eat processed food at all, right? And then there's so many kids that are just, and I really hate saying this, they're so whiny and they're complaining all the time, and they don't have work ethic. They want you to tack up the horse for them. They want you to groom the horse for them. They want you to sit with them on the horse and ride the horse for them. I'm like, do you even want to be here? You know, that's no way to work. And yeah, that's kind of why I don't teach lessons as much anymore. But I want to be a trainer. Like, I want to train horses and I want to teach people how to ride horses. But you really have to have money to get into that, and that's something I don't have, you know? Yeah, that's what I want to do with horses. Do you have any other more specific questions?
I do, aaliyah, absolutely. As you know, we share a couple of platforms, and I've seen a picture of a certain young lady rolling around in the dirt with her this weekend. How is the body? Because you actually fell off a horse, I believe. Is that right this weekend?
I fell off a horse going horse's top speed. So my neck right here hurts, right here, the back of my neck, my shoulder blade down to my lower back, and then the other side of my lower back hurts. And how I fell, I was doing a barrel race, but I never ran the pattern before, and nobody told me that the horse I was using is like 10, 15, or yeah, he's 19, so probably like 15 years ago. He used to be like a real barrel horse that used to run barrel races, and I guess it was so long ago, like nobody really thought about it to like mention that to me. So every time we'd practice, he went so slow, and I was like, dude, you really need to pick up the pace. So I went to run these barrels, and I was like, pick up the pace, and he went, and I was not prepared for it. But I was doing good, like I was fine. Came around the first barrel, lost my stirrups, so obviously not great, but I was fine. Went to go around the second barrel, and I started trying to slow him down, because I didn't have my stirrup. I needed to really get my balance good. Started to slow him down. He was like, no, let me do my job. He started bucking. So then I lost my balance even more. And when I came around that second barrel was when I came off. I was fine. I was winded, and I was about to throw up on there in front of everyone, but I hadn't eaten yet, so I didn't have anything to throw up. So I was like dry heaving. I was like, I can't breathe. And I was dry heaving, but I was fine. For like a couple minutes, my head was ringing and I could barely see, but as you can tell, I'm okay.
Absolutely.
I'm walking around, my back is sore, but it doesn't feel like sore like I hit the ground that hard. And I rolled too. I had so much momentum that I rolled like a car wreck. It was hilarious. I keep watching the video and just laughing at it. But yeah, my back, it's not sore like, I hit something hard sore. It's sore like I overused my muscles. So it's not like the worst thing in the world, and I'm fine. I got back on and I redid the barrels just at a walk.
Good, excellent. Okay, so I've got one last question, and that is, we've got one author on here. John has written the book, The Carnivore Teacher. Are there any other authors on here? Aaliyah,
I'm an author. Sorry.
No, right. Sorry. Yeah, I should give credit to Steph as well. But actually, what I'm working towards is, I believe you're an author, Ali. You're a published author, because I've got a picture of your book somewhere. Have you got a copy to hand, or not? Or should we just talk about it?
I have a copy, but it's put up somewhere.
Yeah,
I don't know where
that's
it's at.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, my book. What do you want me to say about it?
Just tell us what it's called and how you came to write it, and where you can get it, because I'm in the process of actually, and I keep on meaning to get a copy myself, and I will get around to it. So yeah, please, tell us that. What's it called? Why you wrote it, and where you can get it.
Okay, well, it's called The Carnivore Diet for Teens. Simple, right? You Google teen carnivore diet for teens, anything like that, there's no search results, right? Other than maybe me and maybe Emma the carnivore, which is Carrie Mann's daughter. And sometimes Caleb, he's another teen carnivore, but he's pretty well known to like carnivores, but other than that, like I don't see him having an audience outside of carnivores. So I was like, if there's another teen that is like Googling this and they don't see anything about it, what are they supposed to do? Like, they're probably not as crazy and desperate as I was. So that's why I wrote the book, and that's why I titled it that. But for actually writing the book, there's no well-known put out science out there about how carnivore is beneficial to your growth hormones, your what other hormones? Teenagers are hormonal, right? Everybody's like teenagers are hormonal. They're not. I'm not the crazy sneak out at night, like let's go party kind of gal. Maybe if I kept on I would have been, but I'm not. I have no desire to do any of that stuff, and I think that goes with diet. A lot of people don't think that. I think it does. And when your cortisol hormones are good, you're not crazy stressed out, you can sleep good, so you don't wake up going to school like I'm gonna scream at people because they got on my nerves. When you don't sleep good, that ruins everything. And how do you get good sleep? You have a good diet. You have you have to have like safety hormones too, which is, I guess, the absence of cortisol is safety, but you do need cortisol to an extent. I can't remember. And then your ghrelin and leptin sensors are kind of screwed. Like processed food screws. Ghrelin is a hunger hormone. Leptin is a satiety hormone. A lot of teens now, they either have no leptin, so they're just like eating so much, they're like, why am I so hungry all the time? Or they have no ghrelin, they're never hungry. I've never seen somebody with like a healthy appetite, which is like once or twice a day. And I'm like, oh, I was hungry 3 hours ago, but now I'm really hungry. Let me eat. It's either I need food right now, give me food. There's no, oh, I'm getting a little hungry. I'm getting more hungry. Oh, I could probably eat like 2 steaks right now. You know, there's no switch. It's like instantly they're starving. They need the fix, and then they're crashing a couple hours later, and then they need the fix again. And I think, yes, carbs is what's causing that crash, but what's causing that need for food is our hormones being out of whack. You know, your ghrelin is like your brain. See, I feel like I'm confusing people. So your brain receptors for the ghrelin is what's messed up. So your brain doesn't sense the increase of the ghrelin until it gets to the point where your brain can ignore it, and that's why they're having that like need now. And then on top of that, like just the addiction of food makes it much worse. The addictive quality of sugary foods. And I wish I would have talked more about it in my book, but I don't know many other teens who want to hear like the neuron transmissions that are off put by this effect. So I kind of just bit like, your ghrelin and your leptin, this is what they do, and this is why you need carnivore. You know, I wasn't trying to go all in. Maybe I'll write another book and make it much bigger and much more scientific, but that's going to take a lot of time on my part. So it probably like a year from now until that comes out, because I've written books before. Like, this is not new to me, which is crazy. But not like guidebooks, more like just novels for fun. Because I like to write. You know, you're living in your own head in a fantasy land. It's awesome. So I knew my writing process. A lot of people are planners. They like to plot out everything. And then a lot of people just go with the flow. And I'm neither. I plan everything out in my head, have conversations with the other man inside of my head, you know, my ADHD brain, a million times over. And then I write it, I outline what the order it's going to go in. Because if I don't do that, I will get distracted and the book will be all over the place. I do that, and then I just pour. And all I had to do after that part was really grammar editing, because I have really good memory for my brain conversation. What else do I call this? Like, I sound like I'm schizophrenic. I talk to myself all the time.
It's a sign of intelligence when you talk to yourself.
Oh.
It really is.
So yeah, I just poured it out on paper. Maybe I tweaked the way something was worded, but for the most part, came out seamlessly. And grammar was easy. And honestly, the whole book, I did kind of do text to speech, because I was trying to do other stuff while I was writing. So it was kind of a pain to do that, but for some reason, like, I didn't have that many typos or like words that were changed, thank God, or I would have been like, what was I even writing, you know? And it was like seamless. For me, I already knew it was going to be like that. A lot of people, you're going to be like straining to like, what is the next word, you know? Like, don't expect that. And I say the same thing with carnivore. Don't expect it to be seamless transition like mine was. But I was also so sick that anything was better than where I was at, right? Anything. So a lot of people are going to hear these miracle, lost 100 pounds, reversed 30 autoimmune conditions in one day kind of stories. You know, like 1 week I lost 50 pounds. Don't expect that. Never expect that, or you're just going to come out disappointed. You have to understand that healing, writing a book, doing anything hard, you may not have the same outcome as somebody else. And if you go in thinking you're going to have the same outcome as someone else, you're just going to come out disappointed.
Good.
There's no way around that.
Good advice. We're coming to the top of the hour here. So let's go around. and share where we can find each other, specifically Aaliyah, so that we can make sure that we subscribe to your channel as well and check out your book, your other book. I mean, 16 years old. You're blowing me out of the water here. I'm 60. I wrote my first book, and bless you, 16 years old writing a book. So let's start with Stephanie. We'll go clockwise and end with you, Aaliyah. Unmute, Steph.
Sorry. I put in the chat John's link as well. You might be watching on John's channel, Carnivore Teacher. If not, the link is in the chat. George, a link I put in the chat earlier, and aaliyah is aaliyah_the_carnivore. And of course, I'm at Happy Sexy Health on YouTube. I've really enjoyed the chat today. I have so many questions. We could go on for such a long time, but I think you're such an inspiration to women everywhere who are struggling with not only PCOS, endometriosis, all of the other things, cysts, and all of the other things. Now we know there's one root cause. And we know that eating a high carbohydrate diet causes the insulinemia. And I almost couldn't pronounce that. It causes that high insulin. Sometimes it causes that high blood sugar. And if women can just reverse that, then their symptoms will start to reverse. And how far they need to go with that will be slightly vary by individual. But yeah, I've loved the show. And yeah, I feel I need about 3 more hours to speak to you earlier and get all the juicy goodness, because we've only touched the surface, in fact, of what you've been doing. So thank you so much for coming on tonight. I've really enjoyed listening to you. Thank you to everyone in the chat. We haven't had as much time as we sometimes do to go to all of the fabulous comments that you've made, but I just want to draw on one, which Sharon said she loves your honesty, aaliyah, and I've really appreciated that. You just tell it like it is, and that is something that many of us still do not have, but certainly didn't have at 16. So thanks again, and over to you. Well, I'll hand over to you, George.
Okay, so my name is George Goodenough. My channel is George Goodenough 823. It's very small at the moment. I use it to kind of spread news. However, I am going to improve it. My stepdaughter gave me this book, which tells me how to become a YouTube influencer. I'm going to read it once I've finished the Dr. Kilt's course, and then the channel will have a makeover in October. It will become a chat show channel. I've got my first guest lined up, the first couple of guests lined up, in fact. So that's something to look forward to. My main focus at the moment is Facebook. And many of you out there follow me on Facebook. As you know, I am practicing my journalistic skills on there. I have recently told the story of my trip to Wyoming with photographs. So that is kind of my practice area for writing. I have got 3 books in the pipeline, one of which is about my experience in the Arabic world. I speak Arabic. Another one will be my my carnivore journey, and especially how I developed the community which I now have with over 200 people around the world, which have been absolutely fabulous. I am not on TikTok, Instagram, or anything else. So YouTube, WhatsApp, and Facebook. Those are my main ones. I'm very much looking forward to writing the books. The other book which I floated today is kind of a Michelin guide for carnivore around the world. I floated it on our WhatsApp group, the Kilts one, and we had a bit of good feedback about it. A lot of people were saying, I don't know any good restaurants for carnivore. However, next time that we're on, I will be able to tell you of 2 or 3 good ones, because I found another one last night. Had some excellent food in celebrating my birthday, but that's a story for another time. In the meantime, I'm going to hand back to John, because we are running short of time.
Thank you, George. And I'm going to end it. So we're going to let Aaliyah tell us where we can find you, where we can get your book. Tell us quickly.
Okay, so I'm aaliyah_the_carnivore on all platforms except Facebook, and the underscore is replaced with a period. I'm not on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. If you go into my bio on Instagram or YouTube. You can find my link to my website, my blog, and my book. And my book is available only on Amazon. Just search Aaliyah the Carnivore, the Carnivore Diet for Teens book, Aaliyah English, whatever. You'll find it. That's it.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. And I'm going to make sure I highlight that in our YouTube, in our show notes. I have it copied, ready to highlight.
Just a quick one, Aaliyah. You are on Facebook, because that's where I've been seeing.
Oh,
yeah,
you said you weren't.
Aaliyah English on Facebook. And
Yeah,
there's some great
I have
photographs of
my-
you falling off a horse today.
I have my personal Facebook account, and then I have a Facebook page. Two different things.
Okay.
Right.
But
I have
yeah,
those two as well.
whichever.
All right. All right. And I'm John, the Carnivore Teacher. I am on Facebook and X and Twitter and Threads and Instagram, but not TikTok. I don't like that. So check me out there. This has been fantastic. I know a lot of teens. I'm a middle school. I was a middle school teacher. I taught a lot of kids approaching your age. I know what it's like to teach those kids that you were talking about that didn't want to get on the horse. I know how you feel. So I know that a lot of people who are approximately your age will find this very, very informative. So thank you so much for coming on. This has been a wealth of knowledge, and the playbacks are going to be very valuable for teens, especially, so they can find you. So everybody, thank you for joining us. Please see us again next Sunday for Sunday School Carnivore, where we will have another guest tell us all about how the carnivore diet has helped heal them. Meanwhile, have a wonderful week. Take it easy.
Cheers, everybody.
Stephanie,
Good night.
press the button.
Good night. Hit the button.